But you have to ask the question, as Black Americans in this country, what does that mean for you when your vote no longer means anything anymore? And that is a valid question, you being the builders of this nation who have been systematically locked out of wealth building for 400 years, only to be replaced by immigrants who are being prioritized over you, receiving the necessary legislative policies in order to economically surpass you and render your people irrelevant in this country. You know, oftentimes when we have these conversations about reparations and a Black agenda, or even conversations around buying Black and banking Black, I often think to myself that we don't truly understand how dire of a situation that we're in as a people. I want to take a moment right now to read a piece of this article to you from pewresearch.org. And this article is about the current immigration trends that are happening in America and where we will be by 2065. So I want to get into that right now. Follow me down this road for a moment, because this is very important that we understand what's going on in this country concerning immigration and our place in it. By race and ethnicity, more Asian immigrants than Hispanic immigrants have arrived in the U.S. in most years since 2009. Immigration from Latin America slowed following the Great Recession, particularly from Mexico, which has seen both decreasing flows into the United States and large flows back to Mexico in recent years. Asians are projected to become the largest immigrant group in the U.S. by 2055, surpassing Hispanics. Pew Research Center estimates indicate that in 2065, those who identify as Asian will make up 38% of all immigrants, as Hispanics 31%, white 20%, and Black 9%. Now, as we take a look at this graph, which is in another Pew Research article, and don't worry, I will leave all the links for the articles in the description below. But as we cross over to the second article, looking at the graph that is in front of you, what that means is by 2065, Black Americans will be the official minority class in this country. White Americans will make up 46% of the population, Hispanics will make up 24%, Asians will make up 14%, and Blacks will make up 13%. Now you have to ask yourself, what does that mean for you and your children and your grandchildren when you're living in a society under a system of racism and white supremacy in which the party that is supposed to be representing you, the Democratic Party, makes it a point to consistently prioritize other groups over you? If this continues to be the trend with the Democratic Party that you continuously blindly support, then by 2065, when you only make up 13% of the U.S. population and you are now the official minority in this country, because every other group will have surpassed you population-wise, you will be nothing more than an outcast group of people in this country living in shanty towns across the nation. As we've discussed many times before, current trends already show that by 2053, the median wealth of Black Americans will have fallen to zero. That's 2053. And by 2065, you will now be the official minority class in this country. Close your eyes and imagine what that looks like. Now open your eyes and see what it looks like. And what it looks like is this. That photo that you see right in front of you. This is going to be the overall state of Black America by 2065. If something drastic is not done now. But if you leave it up to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, you can rest assured that their administration will seek to bury you and keep you as the permanent underclass in America. Now, one of the other things that we constantly discuss is the way in which Blacks have been consistently giving their votes for free to the Democratic Party for over 50 plus years just to get nothing in return. That statement hits a lot harder when you're looking at the actual data. And you saw that trend begin in 1964 after the Civil Rights Bill. In 1964, the Black vote for president was 94% Democrat. As you can see, from 1964 to 2016, the trend of voting for a Democrat to get nothing in return has been very consistent. But what does it actually mean this time around in 2020? And what I would like to submit to you is that this time around, for you to vote Democrat once again, knowing that you're going to get nothing in return from the Democratic Party, will mean the complete end of Black society as we know it. Because one of the chief goals of the Democratic Party, by way of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, is to provide citizenship for all 11 million undocumented immigrants in this country, the majority of whom are Hispanics. And the reason for doing this is because what the Democrats are looking to capitalize off of is if they win in 2020 and they are able to successfully provide citizenship for the majority of undocumented immigrants, of which the majority of them are Hispanic, then the Hispanic vote will become what the Black vote once was, to which now they are the ones voting Democrat in the 80 percentile to 90 percentile region. And once that happens, Black America, politically as well as economically, will be finished. And there is no coming back from that once that happens. Now, what I want to do is read a piece of Joe Biden's plan for immigrants. And what's interesting is that in this portion of his plan, his staff that came up with this made it a point to downplay the number of undocumented Hispanic immigrants by highlighting how many Asian, Middle Eastern, European, African, and Caribbean undocumented immigrants that there are. Now let's get into it. As president, Biden will commit to significant political capital to finally deliver legislative immigration reform to ensure that the U.S. remains open and welcoming to people from every part of the world, and to bring hardworking people who have enriched our communities and our country, in some cases for decades, out of the shadow. This is not just a concern to Latino communities. This is where he's trying to downplay it. This touches families of every heritage and background. There are approximately 1.7 million undocumented immigrants from Asia in the U.S., as well as hundreds of thousands from Europe, the Middle East, Africa, and the Caribbean. Now, here's the important part. Please listen. Biden will immediately begin working with Congress to modernize our system with a priority of keeping families together by providing a roadmap to citizenship for nearly 11 million undocumented immigrants, growing our economy and expanding economic opportunity across the country by improving and increasing opportunities for legal immigration, and preserve the long-standing directive of our immigration system to reunite families and enrich our diversity. Now, they're telling you right here, as plain as day, that their goal is to provide a roadmap to citizenship for nearly 11 million undocumented immigrants. But like I said before, look at the way in which they downplayed the Latino community by highlighting the fact that 1.7 million undocumented immigrants are Asians, as well as hundreds of thousands from Europe, the Middle East, Africa, and the Caribbean. Ladies and gentlemen, if this goes through, what you're looking at is a boost of about 9 million more Latinos that are now registered to vote and will more than likely be voting Democrat. Now, understand, this isn't me hating on the Latino community, because that's where people get it twisted. None of us are hating. But you have to ask the question, as Black Americans in this country, what does that mean for you when your vote no longer means anything anymore? And that is a valid question, you being the builders of this nation who have been systematically locked out of wealth building for 400 years, only to be replaced by immigrants who are being prioritized over you, receiving the necessary legislative policies in order to economically surpass you and render your people irrelevant in this country. What does that mean for you when not only does your vote mean nothing anymore, but this same party that's supposed to be your party, that they say is on your side, is showing you that they are dedicated to putting funds in the Latino American community over you. Now, I'm going to play this clip for you real quick by Joe Biden when he was asked a very direct question concerning reparations for the descendants of American slavery, and I want you to see what his response was. And many of you have seen this already, so bear with me if you have. But even with that being the case, there is so much that gets thrown at you nowadays that you forget things very quickly. So as a reminder, watch this video and look at what Joe Biden had to say concerning reparations for the descendants of American slavery.
Vice President Biden, do you support reparations?
Look, let me, since I haven't spoken on this, got a chance. Number one, the reason we're the country we are is because of immigration. We've been able to cherry pick the best from every single continent. The people who come here have determination, resilience. They are ready to stand up and work like the devil. We have 24 out of every 100 children in our school today is Hispanic. The idea that we are going to walk away and not provide every opportunity for them is not only stupid and immoral, but it's bad for America. They are the future of America, and we should invest in them. Everybody will benefit from it, every single American, and you should get used to it. This is a nation of immigrants. That's who we are. That's why we're who we are. That's what makes us different, and we should invest in them.
Thank you, Mr. Biden. Senator Klobuchar, you had your hand up.
This man just sat up there and completely ignored reparations for you and told you that he was going to pour funds into Latino American communities, which is exactly what will happen once he becomes president, because this is not unfamiliar territory for the Democratic Party. I detailed for you in one of my last videos the way in which Barack Obama went as far as even to pay out reparations to Holocaust survivors, despite the fact that America is the one who liberated them, not oppressed them. Yet somehow they are receiving reparations from America as you get overlooked. And not only are you getting overlooked, but they are now preparing to pour in millions of dollars into the Latino American community to uplift them while making sure that you stay right where you are at the bottom, where you belong. You need to make sure to share this video with some of your friends and relatives that you know are voting for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. They need to understand that once they get into office in 2020, the black community as you know it is over. And I mean that with every fiber of my being. It is over. It's done. You cannot afford for the Democratic Party to win this election in 2020 without reparations and a black agenda. If they are not coming forth with any tangibles, there is nothing to vote for as it pertains to picking who will be the next president of the United States. We must hold the vote. Now, with all that being said, I'm your boy Tony DeLamy. Make sure you hit that subscribe button as well as the bell notification next to the subscribe button so you can be notified whenever I release a new video. Also, make sure you text tdhiphop to number 33222. That is tdhiphop to number 33222. That way you'll get a direct text notification whenever I release a new video. But it also serves as a protection plan for myself. So in case YouTube ever gives this channel the axe, I will be able to send you a direct link to where you can find me next. All social media links will be in the description below as well as pinned in the comment section. And last but certainly not least, for those of you who have been subscribed to this channel for quite some time now and have a love and appreciation for the work that I put in on this channel, the number one way you can show your support towards me is through Patreon for only $5 a month. That will help put me in position to be able to take TD Hip Hop Media off of YouTube. Remember, the goal is not to grow big on YouTube, but to grow independent of YouTube. Thank you for listening, and until the next video, peace.